nose. I know how I fall be hot like stove. Hey banks, put the big Benz for the washing stand. Rolex a chip when the boss flashing on. From a girl thing, me no giant chatting done. Shirt out from my belly with the blacking grab. On the hill, put the white house like Washington. Watch them a speculate, I wonder how my pocket tap. 600 mil, yeah the profits drop. I to the traffic, them flashing and dashing.
Yeah. Welcome. Episode 2 of Wear the Crown, featuring myself, Rasta and my man Blood Pressure.
Yo, welcome everybody. Welcome to Wear the Crown.
Yeah. So we're super excited today. I got a guest on that good friend of mine, goes by the name of NoahT Justice, representing Exotic VSOP Cannabis. He's got a new thing in town, some super fire herbs and some really high-grade solventless hash that I just tasted that was amazing, at Purple Punch. So super excited. Just want to do a couple sponsors. Shout out to KG and you for letting us hold the space and do the thing. Also, blessed love to anyone celebrating Rastafari today, the coronation of the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering lion from the tribe of Judah.
Yes,
So that it has to be said today. So what a blessed day for all those who are celebrating. Also, I just want to, again, plug the website, negooseorderco.com. Please check out the Rasta rolling papers available right now. Make sure you get some proper high-grade equipment from the high-grade specialist. Definitely check out my man Blood Pressure. I know he's spinning here at the radio station doing his thing. What days are those again?
Yes, Wednesday nights from 10 p.m. to 12, and then Saturdays 1 to 4 p.m. and Sundays from 10 p.m. to 12 also.
Awesome. Yeah, so now that we got that out of the way, I want to big up my man Noah. What's up, my brother?
What up? Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Big up Noah.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure. Now, me and Noah go way back in the day, and the reason I had him come on today is because his story is one that I feel like needs to be documented. We need to put this on record. So that I know I've told it so many times myself that it'd be nice just to have a reference, be like, yo, go check out my man's story right here, because it's definitely something that I feel like people need to hear. It's not just motivational, but inspirational. So I kind of let Noah take the reins and like kind of do his thing, and I'll plug in and ask some questions. But basically, back in the day, when I was probably like 15, I met this kid Noah who was driving a white neon.
Yeah, yes.
That we used to drive around and get lit. And then my man one day told me we were chilling, and I was chilling with my cousin, C.O. Reed. Shout out to C.O. Reed Barbershops over in Lakewood. But I was chilling with my cousin, and we were talking, and I didn't realize it, but Noah was leaving. He was leaving to Cali, and we were chilling. I was there with the last day, I think, before he flew out. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm out over to Cali, chill with my cousin. And crazy thing is, at the time, I didn't know who his cousin was. I didn't know how he had made this move, but so I'll let you kind of take it away and just kind of tell your story, and at least that's where I'd like you to start. I know. So when you left here to go to Cali, what happened with you?
Yeah, so it's a trip. I appreciate everything. Thank you for the love, first of all. But being out in Cali, I got introduced through my cousin who was on the Saved by the Bell cast, and he did a lot of stuff with actors and actresses. He had kept telling me, I know Snoop Dogg, I know Ice Cube, I know Ice-T. Come out to the West Coast so I could show you, and introduce you to a bunch of people. And through that, going to church and meeting Dave, a guy named Dave Aaron, who was Snoop Dogg's producer and actually Tupac's sound engineer. Did a lot of different things in the industry. And RIP to my brother, he just passed last year, and so rest in peace to him.
Yeah, man, rest in peace.
Yes, sir. But great guy and real world renowned. He did the Sublime album. He did 40 Ounces of Freedom. He did Purple Rain for Prince. He did just so many phenomenal albums. And so I started as his personal assistant with the blessings through my cousin and introduction. I started doing auto detailing for his cars, picking up his laundry from the laundromat, the whole 9 yards, making sure he was good. And from there, started, kind of going to Snoop Dogg's birthday parties through Dave, and got introduced through Snoop's production manager, Ricky Palomino. And at the time, they needed an assistant tour manager. So, I got my shot of, going out on the road with Snoop. And
okay, now how old were you at this moment right now?
At this moment, I was 24.
Now, Now back up just a little, because I know back in the day I got heavy into breakdancing and I was b-boying it up, and I felt like you was doing some things with some b-boys at the time too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. You know, I'm from the world famous LA Breakers, so before getting with Snoop Dogg, you know, I started doing some breakdancing on the street. We had a boom box hooked up to the car battery. You know, we rolled out the linoleum, had the buckets out, and really did a live performance, you know, for the whole crowd, which was amazing. And you know, through that was really my dedication to, you know, wanting to get into bigger and better things. We did Universal Studios City Walk, and started performing even at a higher level. And you know, from there was kind of my passion to get on stage with Snoop Dogg, and you know, even battled Snoop Dogg one time in breakdancing, which was a lot of fun.
Whoa.
You know? Wow. Yeah, it was tight. It was a good memory.
Nice. So now, I guess now fast forward again. You're got into these parties. You're kicking it with Snoop, or you're kicking around with Snoop's people, and you had the link in. So what happened then?
Yeah, so we got the link in, and me and Ricky Palomino hit it off, and I went off on my first tour, which was How the West Was Won tour with Game and Snoop Dogg and Uwe, and it was, you know, it was a huge experience. You know, one of those where you kind of just wake up and you're in a dream still when you're on the road, but it was a blessing.
Nice.
Through that, you know, it was a crazy tour. We went on a bunch of states, you know, U.S. tour. Then we were going to go overseas, and before we went overseas, we were in our last stretch of it in New York at the Syracuse campus. And the bus driver had showed me how to drive the bus, because he was like, "Hey, man."
And this is Snoop's tour bus?
This is Snoop's tour bus,
okay.
Yeah. So he's like, "Hey, man, you know, I want you to drive the bus, you know, in case I don't make it back in time, because I get tired and need to get extra rest at the hotel or such." So I said, "All right, show me how to drive it." And I backed it down this like 45-foot alley with the bus trailer on the back. We had all the band equipment in the back, and so it was like 65 feet of motoring. And the truck drivers that came over like, "Man, I can't believe this guy just moved this truck. You got to be kidding me! Like, what the hell? I've been driving for 15 years. This would have took me 3 tries." You know, so
you're like professional already.
Yeah, so I've got the professional chip on my shoulder. Like, I could drive these buses. Next thing I know, we just got done loading up the bus and getting the band loaded up and all the equipment. So I needed to move it before the bus driver arrived. And I would go around the corner. This guy Chuki, who, you know, was a bass player at the time for Snoop, was like talking to my ear like, "Man, you're killing it. I can't believe you're driving this bus around this corner." And I, you know, wasn't paying attention. There was a stop sign right to the right of the bus, and I went up on the corner like a little bit and caught the stop sign. And the whole thing just started like high centering, and I'm pushing the gas.
Ain't going
long
nowhere.
story short, it's not going anywhere. I caused like $35,000 worth of damage, so I'm over here devastated. You know, this is my first tour. I'm thinking, man, I'm fired.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
what were you doing on the tour? Like, what was your job?
Assistant tour manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did production, assistant tour management as far as detail, travel detail.
And what was that guy's name? Ricky Palomino? Kind of just, you guys kicked it off, and he just kind of was like, "Oh, you the guy, so you're going to run this." Okay.
Yes, sir. And he was the tour manager at the time. And so, you know, once that bus stopped, and I was like, "Oh, man, hold on." Ricky Palomino came out of the bunk like, "What the hell are you driving? Stop the bus. Stop what you're doing." I put it in park.
Yeah, this is like the second time you drove the bus, or like
this is the second time.
Yeah.
So, you know, the first time I was a champion. Cool. The second time was a little bit of
learning curve.
Yeah, learning curve. So next thing I know, I see the bus driver storming down the street, you know, mad as hell, looking like he's about to kill me. And I'm like, "Oh, wow, I'm going back home. Snoop's about to send me home, the whole 9 yards." Well, I'm praying because, you know, obviously I'm a Christian. I believe in the Lord. And you know, so I said, you know, I'm going to pray for like, you know, 24, 48 hours and just hope that something comes above. And sure enough, the Lord told me, "You're going to go to the party in Atlanta with So Def and Jermaine Dupri, and you're not supposed to smoke. Don't drink. You're security tonight." So in my mind, I'm like, all right, I got to be security. Yeah. I'm up at the top, you know, on top of the couches, looking over everybody, trying to, you know, watch the crowd, do the whole thing, and try to, you know, get Snoop's back. Well, next thing I know, I see a girl that's next to Snoop, and she had been with us kind of the whole night, and she was like, you know, acting like she was really his wife or something. Well, I know, you know, Snoop has his own wife, you know what I'm saying, at home, and he don't play that. So next thing, he's talking to another girl, and the next thing I know, she goes for the crowd with like a bag that had like $40,000 worth of merchandise in it, probably 2 diamond chains, 2 ounces that were worth like $800 because we were on the East Coast, and just a bunch of money and stuff.
Snoop's bag?
Yeah, this is Snoop's bag. So she was just holding it during the time, and so she I tell Big Mooch and a couple of the security guards, I say, hey, man, grab her right away. Hey, she's rolling for the crowd. And she screams and throws the bag up while he's kind of grabbing her shirt before she runs for the crowd.
Wow.
And next thing I know, I'm like, Snoop turns around and he's like, hey, Noah, hold this bag. And I'm like, all right, good, I got you. Don't even trip. And the next thing, you know, we go to the hotel, whatever, at the end of the night. Next morning, he calls me on the bus. Everybody's on the bus. He's like, no, I need you on the bus. Come on, talk to me. And he's like, man, NoahT, I ain't never met a motherfucking white boy like you. You my motherfucking nigga, and you rolling with me to the end. You're going on the private jet with me. I can't believe you looked out like that. I was like, man, Snoop, I know that I wasn't your wife. She was trying to rob you. She was on the move. She was acting jealous. He
was moved by the whole gesture.
So it was just a blessing how it made up. And then next thing I know, he was like, hey, we're going to the studio tonight to do something with Ice Cube's album. And so we go in there, and at the time, you know, he had said, hey, you're going to be my personal blunt roller. So for the rest of the tour, you're just going to roll my blunts and take care of all my personal needs on the tour. And I said, man, I got your back. Let's roll. So I'm rolling the blunt. I'm breaking down the weed, rolling a blunt up in the studio while he's doing the Ice Cube album, Laugh Now, Cry Later. And he's doing I think it's track 17, but it's, I think, Roll It Up, it's called, man, I want to say it's Roll It Up. I'll look it up so I got the exact.
It's a compilation.
Yeah.
So pause real quick.
Yeah.
So Noah, we're working together, and we get reunited. I'm working at Native Roots doing the whole Rasta Bubble thing, working in the grow, helping out, and then I feel like we did the Snowball Festival with Native Roots up in Eagle Vale.
Eagle Vale.
Yep. And we were sitting around, and we were there for the festival. We had a booth set up and things, and I remember somehow we made some link with Snoop Dogg about doing a shout out. Like Snoop was going to do a shout out for us on stage, and the price they was trying to get was like 7 G's, and then like over a course of like 5 to 6 hours, the price came down to like $1,500 and like a quarter pound or something like that. If I can remember right, and during that time we were also shuttling people from the concert to the dispensary, so in a limo, so you could take a limo ride and get a ride up to the dispensary and buy some herb and then get shuttled back to the show.
Yep.
And so anyways, long story short, we were out there, and Outkast just came on, and I think Snoop came on, and somebody tapped me on my shoulder right when Snoop was like, I just want to give a shout out to Native Roots. Somebody tapped me on my shoulder, and I turned around, and when I turned around, I missed the shout out. And so then I turned back around, and the friend I was with, he was like, hey man, did you hear he gave us a shout out? I was like, nah, I missed it. I was so upset. It was like it was like the timing of things like couldn't have had worked out any better.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I know we had reunited at Native Roots because you ended up becoming a grower, and I think you possibly were the link between that whole situation with Snoop at the concert. For the introduction to Snoop Dogg and Native Roots.
Yeah,
and then you ended up becoming one of the growers at the grow, and I'm listening to you tell me this story about how the whole thing, the bus, with you and Snoop, the cost, and then how you got promoted. And then you're telling me the story. Yeah, he put me on that track 15 on the compilation album, Ice Cube's compilation album. And then I promise you not, a week later, I'm chilling up in the trim room, and what comes on but this song? And I hear Snoop say, yeah, Noah, roll it up. And I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So just the verification is there. That's a true story.
And by the way, the track's called Got a Lot of That. So check it out. But yeah, it was cool because, I'm breaking down the weed, rolling the blunt, and I hear go and break down a bleed. He said, go and break it down, go and split a blunt, go and take another puff, Noah, roll it up. So I'm like, man, did I just hear he say Noah, roll it up? I'm like, man, this is a killer. I think I just got on the album. And Snoop comes out the vocal booth, and I'm like, Snoop, was that my name? He's like, man, I had to do it for you, cuz. I said, good looking, I appreciate you.
Whoa.
Yeah, man, so I was family. So then straight from there, we jumped on the private jet from JFK, and we went to Iceland, we went to Sweden, we went to Poland, we went to all of Germany. I mean, you name it, we were there. Rotterdam, it was a lot of fun. So
yeah, and you've made good links with like all those cats like Nate Dogg and Daz and all them.
Oh man, shout out to the whole DPG family, Snoop Dogg, Shantae, all the kids, Cordell, Corey, all them. But just so much love for the whole West Coast movement and all the blessings that I've been through, and it's a blessing to know you too as well, Rasta.
Yeah.
We've been through a lot of things. What I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man. That's why I said I said this story because right now we'll get to what's going on now with you, and I think that part, like I told you earlier, needed to be documented.
Yeah, no,
because
I appreciate
I
that.
I had told that story so many times to people, because for me the whole thing of now. The crew you were breaking with was the LA Breakers. Now, if no one's familiar, the Red Bull battles, the first breakdance battles that ever occurred, was in an airport hangar, and I can't remember where it was exactly, but it was in a giant airport hangar, and the crew that took the crown and one came in first was LA Breakers, and that was the same crew that you was breaking with.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's tatted on my chest.
Yeah, man. So yeah, give thanks, and that was one thing that I thought was amazing. It's inspirational, as someone that loved dancing and was big into breaking, and then to hear that story, and then alongside with the fact that you ended up working with Snoop and you had this career, and it going via connection, shout out Mama D and
100.
Yeah,
Mama Don, John Paulo,
yeah,
yes,
John
sir.
Paul,
Yeah,
and
yes,
shout
sir.
out the whole crew, because that link right there, from you, I was able to go up and do some trimming and work on a little grow op with some friends, and I saw all the photos because you had a lot of the stuff stored at their house. So I saw all the photos of you and Daz and Nate and all them,
Yes,
and
sir.
y'all partying and stuff, and it was real cool. It's humbling. I think you even had the Snoop Dogg's Xbox, where it was the old one where it's like a suitcase, and it had his name on it. So it was really cool to see all that. So if anybody has any doubts about this man's story, I'm there to verify, and that's why I wanted to put this on the record, because it's such an awesome story. And now you got this growth thing, because you've been established doing the growing. I know that you've kind of networked with B Real in some ways, or at least met him, and you guys have some relationship. And I know with I'll let you explain with the owner you're working with now, or the guys you're working with. I know you're part owner as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then before we jump in that, I just wanted to say one thing. The Snoop Youth Football League was a huge movement and a lifetime of what we did when it first launched. 2005, when Snoop already had the vision of what he wanted to do for all the kids. It was just a tremendous movement of what we did. But I used to pick up Nate Dogg's son, Nigel Hell, John Ross the third, Daniel, just a lot of different kids that were just, underprivileged and couldn't get a ride to practice. So I pick them up. I paid some of their light bills, paid for their, dinners, paid for their birthday presents, whatever I could do to help them out and have a better life. And that was one of the biggest movements with being with Snoop Dogg was, with the heart that he has. Is the heart of a lion when it comes to kids, when it comes to helping out families, helping out individuals. And that's one thing I got so much love. And me and Snoop had such a bond when it came down to that type of thing, because he knows I had the same heart and the same movement that, he was trying to achieve. And, the Snoop Youth Football League had a big impact on not only the California kids, but now it's moving around worldwide, to take on different states and different countries to try to help out kids and, change their lives. So
that's what's up. Big up. Big up Snoop, the Snoop Football League. I mean, that's all good things, man. I love to hear uplifting the youth and those underprivileged getting opportunities and open doors. Every kid needs that opportunity and chance. You know what I mean? And that's awesome. That's great. Great to hear from that whole experience. You know what I mean? So
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So now,
rest in peace to Nate Dogg too.
Yeah,
That's
rest in
brother.
peace to Nate Dogg, man. I miss hearing
sir.
his voice for sure.
Yes, sir.
Now, what I was going to say is, now during this time, there was a point where you kind of ended up not working with Snoop, and then you ended up getting into the growing field as far as cannabis, and now I think you believed involved in some hemp projects as well.
Definitely.
So how long? Let's get started with that. How long you been growing? What got you started with the whole wanting to do that? How'd you get into the legal game? All those things.
I appreciate you asking that. I started while I was on tour with Snoop Dogg. I met a guy named Kenji Fushima. Fushima is one of the best growers in the world. He is the Green Thumb for Dr. Green Thumb brand. He's the right-hand man to Be Real, who's really launched the whole brand and created the brand. And so through that, I learned how to do, hydroponic growing. I acquired a lot of different strains, from exotic OGs to some of your more newer boutique strains from different various breeding processes. And I stayed in California for a number of years and worked on at the time, obviously we're, kind of a Prop 64 215 movement. We had permits to grow per house, and we had some garages and kind of smaller warehouses. And once everything passed over to hearing about legalization in Colorado, I've got a 17-year-old son now. At the time, he was about like 4 years old. And his name's Connor. Shout out to Little C.
Big up Connor.
Yes, sir. And so, he was a big movement on my life as far as touring with Snoop, and I wanted to be more of a full-time dad. So when I heard about the legalization movement in Colorado, and knowing that I had, a good cultivation background from learning under Kenji and Dr. Green Thumb and having some great strains, I moved out here, and created a great menu and teamed up with a guy that had at the time, it was Native Roots, as a matter of fact. Rhett Jordan, shout out to Rhett. He's a founder of Native Roots, which is the largest license holder in Colorado now. And at the time, me and Ronnie were working there. Ronnie was doing the Rasta bubble, which was the most fire in the world.
Appreciate you.
And we were, and I was the cultivator, so we were growing fire in, fire out. And so from there, I wanted to start my own brand. And it was always a vision, but it took, a number of years, about 7 years to get everything going. And once I had the right, establishment as far as, genetics, the partnership with a partner of mine named Corey, he's got 700 lights in the city of Denver that's licensed for recreation and medical. And it's one of the most state-of-the-art facilities in the world. So we started, a partnership there, and I launched the brand, which is my brand, Exotic VSOP Cannabis.
Nice.
Which is all about boutique strains and bringing the best genetics to the world.
And I've recently had the opportunity to walk the facility, and it is one of the latest state-of-the-art facilities. It's nice. It's clean. I know you guys got some LED lighting going in your veg room, which I thought was really cool. Good staging, the way everything's laid out, and I see the build out coming along, and man, everything looks really good. The strains look really good. I was amazed and impressed with all the different variety that you had. I mean, crushing it as far as I was concerned.
Thank you.
The fact that you were doing the fresh frozen to help keep some of those terpene profiles and keep everything, doing the solidness thing, to me is important. And once I saw that freezer, that chest full of fresh frozen, I was like, I put a smile on my face so big, so.
Yes,
but again, shout outs to you and the whole crew and doing the thing. And again, where are you guys located now? Are you wholesale? You have a shop? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so we're just wholesale cultivating right now. We're going to be vertically integrated in Michigan. We've got 5 dispensaries there and a 50,000 square foot building that's already phase 2. We'll probably be in phase 3 and 4 probably in the next 30 to 60 days. So we're hoping to launch in the next 120 days or so out there with the cultivation facilities. And we also have another one that's a 60,000 square footer that we're building in Lansing, Michigan. So we have over about 110,000 square foot of canopy space. So there.
Now, are you guys waiting for the build out? I mean, you guys have licensing and everything. You're just waiting for the build out to be done, or is there still a process that needs to take place?
We're waiting for the build out on the 60,000. We're just breaking ground just for the foundation to be poured.
Okay.
But the 50,000 and the other dispensaries are pretty much phase 2, phase 3. So they're almost finished with construction.
Okay.
And permitted.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah. Okay. Now, with that said, what do you think is your main objective as far as with your brand, what you want to represent? I mean, I know just talking about some of the strains and the level and mentioning those names like Dr. Green Thumb, and it's some high grade quality. What kind of strains do you have right now that you think, again, and what is the mission statement, I guess? What you representing with what you're doing? For sure.
Yeah, the mission statement is always to have the most cleanliness environment, high IPM regimen to make sure that we don't have any contaminants or pests. We want to have the cleanest product for our consumers. And bringing the most boutique strains through working with various breeders. One of the biggest breeders we're working with right now is a guy named Alex. He's from Clearwater. Shout out to Alex. He's one of the best breeders to me in the world. He's done the Mai Tai. He's done a lot of different breeding procedures here in Colorado, but teamed up with the Jungle Boys, which is one of the mentors to me as far as a brand that has really just taken, from the underground market to a seed to sell market, and a brand that's really worldwide recognized and really has a good consistency on their product. Somebody that I look up to as far as my business model. And so when I look at the Jungle Boys, look at their strains and how they've kind of created it, me and Alex being from Colorado, wanted to bring that same feel to Colorado. And, there's a lot of stores, unfortunately, that you go into and they'll say, oh, this is the OG Kush. And you'll get home and it's blueberry when you taste it, or it's, train wreck or something. And that was one of the biggest problems that I had here, unfortunately, was that, people were kind of faking the funk, if you will, when it comes down to strains and having knowledge behind what it is as far as the cultivator and knowing the cultivator that they're buying it from. Nice.
Now, we'll cut to my man Blood Pressure. He had he had an opportunity to try some of the solventless outside, and what did you think about it?
Well, I'm not choking. I'm not coughing up a lung right now. I can actually. How long ago was that? Like 55 minutes ago, maybe? Like literally almost an hour ago. I can still taste it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those terps are still in there, and from an hour ago.
Yeah. Now,
thank you.
Yeah, it's good quality.
Thank you, man.
Clean work. I was really impressed with. I guess the solventless that you brought and the couple grams you brought. What strains were those again?
It's Purple Punch, and the other one is Animal Face. And shout out to Spectral Extracts. He's one of the most world-renowned solventless extract artists out here in Colorado. To me, we're going to be submitting one of the, I think, world-renowned inputs that I think anybody's put together as far as a test, and we're testing out a couple of entries for the High Times Cup, which is going to be on the 21st. So stay tuned for that on our solventless run.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier outside, we were talking about the High Times event possibly is going to be at the Gothic Theater.
Yes, sir.
I didn't realize that they were even bringing it back to Colorado, which was interesting. So low key.
Yes, sir. Popped up real quick.
Yeah, popped up real quick. For sure. Well, yeah, man.
It's good to have them back.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think some of the companies, like you just mentioned, Jungle Boys and Dr. Green Thumb, and is that basically kind of the type of energy you're trying to put out here in Colorado and also in Michigan, I guess, is primarily what I see going on. And man, the quality's there. Definitely the terpenes are there. The high grade is there. No question, no doubt about it. And also during this time, you were working with the football league before you kind of while you were doing the whole grow ops and everything.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, what do you do with the football league? What do you guys do over there?
Here in Colorado, I was the president of the Youth Football League, and in Colorado, in California, I was Snoop Dogg's pretty much assistant for the league.
Okay, and
equipment manager as well for his team.
Now, did you guys do that this past summer?
Yeah, it was in 2015.
Okay, 2015.
Yeah.
And how many teams did you guys have for the league?
We had over 38 teams.
Awesome.
Which was a blessing.
Yeah. Wow. 38 teams.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun.
How many coaches did you guys have?
Man, I want to say we had over probably 100 coaches.
Wow.
Yeah. It was awesome. We had a lot of fun. We're going to try to relaunch. There were some problems towards the end because of, funds with certain people trying not to, they wanted to pay, but they couldn't pay. So a couple of things that we fell under that, we felt that Colorado needed a little bit more time to adjust as far as payments. And we're trying to get a league with Snoop and a couple other guys put together where it's free enrollment, free cost, so that for those that can't afford it can then not have to worry about that problem, because I think that there's so much talent that's wasted out there. They can't get to practice or to the training or to proper coaching, and they just obviously are just sitting at the house and I just want to change that for all the lives that I can possibly change for. Yeah, and I know Snoop's out there for the same thing.
Yeah, that's what's up. And I know it's a little jump, but it's cool to see, like with the colleges being able to give where the students will be able to like get paid off of their name and off of the jersey sales and all those things. Now they're changing those rules, or at least I saw at least a couple colleges, universities were.
Yeah.
So again, that says something. And yeah, even with the underprivileged kids that don't have those opportunities. I mean, had my son in I think the Denver Police
PAL League.
The PAL League.
Yes, sir.
Baseball.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. They got some good talent over there.
Yeah, bro. He was like, he was like 5 or 6. And I had to go out on the field so much that they thought I was a coach. Like I was walking off the field one day, and the lady was like, "Hey, coach, when we gonna be doing this and that?" I was like, "Nah, I was just out there trying to keep my son under control." Because he was not into playing baseball. He was like throwing his glove up in the air.
Look at the butterflies, play whatever you can find.
Yeah, he was like, sir. I'm like, nah, bro, you got to be in it to win it. So
that's awesome.
Shout out to the little leagues and the PAL leagues, and hopefully you get that started up again. But I guess the reason I brought that up is like, a shout out to you and what you do, because to me, as I see it, it's such motivation to be involved in so many things and so passionate about so many things. It's not like you're just not well spoken about one thing and not about another. All these things that you're involved in, you've put yourself and committed yourself to doing, and I think that says a lot about you as a person. And
appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
and so shout out to you, because that's what I see with all the big moves. You making power moves and power leaps within this industry, from being a grower, from just learning how to grow, to becoming a grower, to working on layouts and specs and build outs, and knowing top solvent lists and top hash and extracts and all those things. It takes a lot to be committed to one thing, and the fact that you're able to do all those things, to me, is really impressive, because I know as a grower, all the things we deal with, from employees to pest management to yields, to what are we going to, what's next. All those things take time, and sometimes it takes a group of people to really do it. But, hats off to you for keeping it moving. It motivates me to keep crushing it. So
thank you, bro. And, the next thing, I think that the biggest movement's going to see is this hemp and CBD, because it's such a beneficial plant, to get into the CBD movement after following, a great mentor of mine, Jason Cranford, who really broke ground, and I think is one of the most world-renowned, scientists, if you will, when it comes to knowing the scientific background and what the chemical and cannabinoids reactors will do to the body. And he came up with the inhale. It's actually it goes through the nasal passage, so it's called Canatol RX. He was trying to figure out how he could stop epileptic seizures and seizures from happening. And one of the biggest things that he's done is came up with a formula for kids that are, a couple months old, or even newborn, even is up to hospice age. It'll stop a seizure within 3 to 4 seconds, and it goes through the nasal passage, because obviously the mouth seizes shut when any of that happens. So it just really is touching when it comes down to when that formulas like that from a plant can actually stop a seizure and actually cure a lot of these kids that were on pharmaceutical pills and drugs that, to me, I think really cripple a body and disable them from even being able to function. And that's that's one of the biggest things for me. Is I'm all about the benefits to medical benefits for everybody out there using CBD, using cannabis for those benefits, and that's why I'm in this as well. Is it's not just to get high every day, it's to change people's lives. And shout out to Jason Cranford and getting me motivated to get in the hemp industry. Now we're next year we should have over 160 acres of hemp, and it's high quality, that we're making sure that's an organic approach from start to finish. So whether it's an edible or it's a tincture or any kind of application, we want to make sure that it's the cleanest product as possible for for kids and people that are in need.
Yeah, that's something that I find questionable. I don't know about you, blood pressure, but as far as when it comes to CBD, there's so many companies out there, and because the fact that it's so available, I don't feel like there's a lot of regulations on what's getting what's passing through. So there could be powdery mildew. I've seen some pretty bad.
When it comes to the big picture, when you look on like how people from say the public, I mean, the three of us have a very intimate knowledge of what these things are, where they come from, how they're manufactured.
Yep.
But people outside of this kind of industry knowledge, folks who are just like homesick.
Yep, exactly.
Those are the people I'm concerned about, because they are, even my mom, my mom was like, well, I saw this thing on the internet that, and I said, Ma, don't order that. Don't be buying things off the internet, because the regulations or the controls that are in place to make someone be able to sell something aren't very, I don't know, it hasn't really happened much yet for regulating and the safety and the efficacy of these products. But like the ones that are in this regulated market, like we experience here in Colorado, are evidence that that regulated market is where things need to go for this entire industry. And like what you're telling me about the nasal spray, and what I'm learning about today is a clear example that some people, there's people out there that are in charge of this and are the ones that are going to take this hemp and nutrition and medicine to the masses, because
yes, sir.
These folks that are out there trying to just perpetrate and create some product that they can make a quick buck off of are going to end up hurting people.
Yeah,
and hurting themselves with take a black market vape pen, for example.
Oh yeah.
And things that people are filling those cartridges with are starting to show up in the news now and saying, "Oh, vaping's bad for you and it's making people sick." Those cartridges that people are making in their basement are the ones that are making people sick, not the vaporization of cannabis. So it's like people need to really get educated. And folks like us who have the intimate knowledge of these products and this, all the different stuff. There's a big opportunity for us to educate people and teach people, because for the longest there really hasn't been any kind of
there hasn't really been any regulations from even back when recreational came up or medical came up. I mean, there should have been more regulations with medical than there's been. They've gone harder on recreational than they did on medical as far as the regulations that take place within the cannabis industry, which is to me a little bit backwards. If you're calling it medicine and you really want to be helping people from the jump, you should really be on those type of regulations to make sure people are getting quality and stuff, and not just quality but healthy products that aren't going to cause damage in the long run. Because I know back in the day, and I'm sure everyone in this room could speak to, as far as getting a pound or getting some weed, and it was wrapped up in cellophane and it smelled kind of funny because it probably was in the back of a gas tank and all those things, bro. Like, years of that with no regulations, just because you're trying to get something to smoke across the border or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? That's we should be thankful to have the opportunity to have these shops to go to and purchase and know that we're getting clean product that somebody is like watching after, to be like, yo, this ain't right. Because even as it is right now, a lot of growers, a lot of shops, a lot of places are getting shit passed that shouldn't be passed, and unfortunately it's getting out there, and you have to be smart about what you're smoking and where you're going, and that's again one of the reasons I would bring you on, Noah, is because I know you're all about quality and you're not smoking no boo-boo, and what I mean, and that when you do,
yes,
and it's very evident, and
appreciate it.
And I think like you're saying, blood pressure is that we need to be able to, with this platform too, be able to expose all those wrongs and wrong turns that you can make, and just spreading that knowledge that people can have available to them, especially the people that are just sitting at home and on the couch, and hopefully they put on this podcast if they ain't got nothing to do and they listen to it, and they get at least some kind of enlightenment about what direction to go. Because I even heard 100%. That they're doing THC eye drops, which they're saying are probably going to go federally
for glaucoma.
Yeah, federally.
Put it right in your eyeball.
THC federally, and
ready to roll.
Yeah. So
not to do something kind of off the subject, but we used to put acid in our eyeball back in the day, in the 80s, man. That's where you put the LSD,
psychedelic time,
and the shit would go right. You start getting high right away. So it makes sense that that they would put the eye drops in your eyeball. It's a very, very effective way.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, that blood barrier gets broken real quick.
It does. It does.
Yeah, man. So that's all good things. No, I'm so glad that you came on. And again, that's the reason this podcast is called Wear the Crown, because I really just wanted to highlight a king in his own castle doing this thing, holding it down. Appreciate and king or queen, so it don't matter. I ain't trying to discriminate, but definitely I thought that your story needed to be told. And again, just one more time, shout out your grow, what you guys are doing, where you're going, where to look, where we can find you, if there's a website or any of that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, check us out at www.exoticvsopcannabis.com. That's our website. Check us out at IG. We're on Facebook. And then also, shout out to New Millennium. Shout out to Grow Ray. These are all of our sponsors and people that we're moving with, and do some of the New Millennium's one of the best nutrient lines in the world. The chemist behind it is Neil. He did GH, the whole line. He did Floralicious Grow, Floralicious Bloom. So we use, real nice chelate nutrients that have more of an organic approach, but give you the, most terpene profiles, resin production, and overall best yield, in my opinion. So, check out New Millennium products when you get a minute. And just Grow Ray Lighting is bar none the best LED lighting in the world. So we've been using LED lights at a couple of our facilities, and we're going to continue to change those over.
And that's in flower as well as veg? Or?
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
Do they go from LEDs and veg, and then did they just stay there, and you increase the lighting within the veg room? Is that
correct?
Right?
Yeah, different spectrums. You can do sunrise, sunset settings, and they're one of the most affordable lights, I'd say, on the market as far as the cost, and also the power savings is bar none the best in the world as far as your rebates and stuff that you get on them. So
okay,
yeah,
Awesome.
they're great.
And what shops, I guess, that we can find your product at? Is there any shops that have the concentrates or the flower?
Yeah, check it out all at Roll Up Dispensary. We're at Wolfpack Dispensary. We're at Frosted Leaf Dispensary. We'll be at all of Native Roots in the next probably 30 to 60 days. So you can check us at all the Native Root stores.
And is that just flower or is that concentrate?
Both. That's all. It'll be our
Okay.
whole line. And then check us out at Joya as well. Joya in Louisville. We'll have all of our clothing lines and all of our SKUs up there. So we look forward to having you all out there. Appreciate all the support, and much love to Blood Pressure. Much love to Ronnie. I appreciate both of you.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's my pleasure to have you on. It's super dope to get your story told.
Keep up the good work. Man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
you.
And hopefully we get to see that. Get you started with the football team again, and get these kids involved and get them out there playing and get them the opportunities to have fun, man.
Let's do it. Yeah. No, that's what I look forward to. Changing lives every day is what it's all about.
Sweet, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on. And again, this is episode 2, Rasta Ronnie, with my man DJ Blood Pressure.
Yes, I.
Yeah, my man NoahT Justice, representing Exotic VSOP Cannabis. Please check it out there, and please get yourself some Rasta Ronnie rolling papers. Check the website, negooseorderco.com. Available in wholesale and also in singles. I'm coming out with some shirts here pretty soon. And then definitely check the link on YouTube, the Rasta Ronnie channel, where you can find this upload available. Working on getting the whole video going, and so people have the opportunity to see what's going on in the studio with this podcast. And then shout out to my man Daraja, who will be on the next episode. We're recording straight from Jamaica. Going to get him on the phone, chat it up with him, see what's going on this Coronation Day. Blessed love. So yeah, man, thank you again for joining us. Stay tuned to more Wear the Crown.
Touching at the road, one, hey. So we quick, couple bad girl and flick. We run them real and tick. Touching at the road, one, I did. Head a thump off, long scarf. Lick up his rubber, numb tats. Ending up poor, but it's a no rum talk.